Have you ever wondered how electric kettles were put together? Let's step inside the factory and break down how these everyday appliances were being assembled from start to finish. The process was quite impressive, involving both machinery and human precision to create the kettle that boiled our water so quickly. Step 1. Designing the kettle. The assembly process began with the design stage. Engineers were designing the electric kettle to make sure it was both functional and aesthetically pleasing. Using 3D modeling software, they were continuously refining the design, adjusting for things like handle placement, spout size, and heating efficiency. The idea was to make a kettle that not only looked good, but also boiled water safely and quickly. Step 2. Molding the plastic body. Once the design of the CUV was finalized, then the production of the plastic body was the next step. About 90% of the kettles had been manufactured from heat-resisting plastic, and the factory 145 employees were operating injection molding machines. Another group of plastic pellets was heated and injected into molds which gave the body of the kettle its final look. As the plastic continues to cool the kettle, it adopted the shape of the shell. Once molding was through, the factory workers cut off excess material and transferred the kettle shells to the next line of production. Step 3. Installing the heating element. In the case of important consumer electronics, like the electric kettle, its heating element was its most sensitive part. This element was used to transform electrical energy to heat, consequently heating water to boiling. The heating coil was being attached very meticulously at the base end of the kettle by professional workers. For proper functioning, they were interconnecting the coil to the internal wiring and the base of the kettle. Step 4. Adding the handle and spout. While the heating element was being installed, another team was working on attaching the handle and spout. The handles were usually molded separately and then fitted onto the kettle's body. Workers were ensuring that the handles were ergonomic and sturdy, as they had to withstand the weight of the kettle when filled with water. The spout was also fitted to ensure a smooth and even pour. Step 5. Wiring and base installation. This electrical kettle could not be complete without the wiring and base. You could see factories were welding the internal wiring and connecting the heating element safely to its corresponding plastic housing. Next emerged the construction of the detachable base, which most of the electric kettles utilized for mobility purposes. Essentially, wiring was being provided to the base, and this served as an interface between the kettle and power supply. Step 6. Assembling the lid and safety features. Lids to the electric kettles required to be well-fitting so that water would not spill from the kettle during use. These lids were still being made as separate pieces to fit onto the bases themselves. Steam vents or locking mechanisms were optional with safety in mind. The lids were fastened in the kettle body by means of screwing or hinges that could easily snap. Further, the kettles that are in use in the modern world came with an auto shut-off button that would only stop the kettle from boiling water once the water boiled. Step 7. Testing for quality control. Having been assembled, those kettles were taken to a testing station where they were closely examined for quality or safety issues that were arising from their assembly. The factory workers undertook a test that involved boiling water using the kettles. Step 8. Packaging and shipping. Following quality control processes, the kettles were washed, polished, and put in readiness for packing. Companies were packing them in boxes, sometimes along with such extras as filters or washing instructions. And there you have it, a step-by-step look at how electric kettles were assembled in factories. The process was a blend of automation and skilled craftsmanship, ensuring that each kettle worked perfectly to bring us that comforting cup of tea or coffee. If you enjoyed this deep dive into appliance assembly, Hit that subscribe button for more inside factory tours. We will be happy to continue.